What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video. Today, I want to talk more about the draft, like we talked about yesterday. Got some things that I've picked up over the last few days. Some more stuff about the draft. We're getting closer. It's April 25th is the draft. Today is April 14th, so we're not that far away. And there are some guys that I think the Colts could be taking in later rounds, so at least positions we need to look for the Colts trying to take in later rounds and what that means for the rest of the team, right? On this channel in the past, we've talked a lot about the possibility of trading Braden Smith, right? Right tackle for the Colts. He's been good when he's in the game, right? But that's when he's in the game. Ever since he got his big contract, he's missed a lot of football. And having him on the field for us is important, right? I'm not going to sit here and say it's not. He is a very good player. Colts were better last year when he was able to be on the field, but he missed a lot of time. So we've talked a lot about with what he's getting paid, with how much is left on his contract. Like it kind of makes sense to trade him to somebody. Trade him. Maybe you trade him to a team like the Chiefs, right? Or a team like, I don't know if the Jets would need him. They've gotten a lot of offensive linemen in this offseason, but a team like the Jets, right? Some team that wants to make a run this year, go and give him Braden Smith for a year and get something back for him. And the reason that I think that could be even more of a possibility is when you look at who the Colts are doing their top 30 visits with before the draft. So when you look at it, like you look through the whole thing, everything, all the top 30 visits, you look at who they met with at the combine, who they met with in bowl games. You're looking at the main position for the Colts. I don't think any of this will really surprise anybody, but it's cornerback, safety, wide receiver, and offensive lineman, specifically the tackle position. So why would they be looking at tackles, right? Is there anything above those three that the Colts really need, right? Like edge rusher is one that they've been looking into also. You have to assume edge rusher is going to be up there. But from everything that we as fans have been talking about, Colts need cornerbacks. Colts need a safety or two. Colts need, a wide receiver, at least one more wide receiver. And then offensive linemen. They've met with a lot of tackles at this point now. There is some talk out there. The Colts really like the Georgia tackle that's going to be coming out of this draft. But there's one tackle in particular that I thought is really interesting, somebody that could be and probably will be a day 3 pick that the Colts could end up drafting to be the next guy, right? You look at this guy's measurables. We're talking about Giovanni Manu, and the numbers that he put up at his pro day were that he's 6'7", just over 6'7", 352 pounds. He ran a 4.96 and had a 33.5-inch vertical. So this dude is a massive human being, and he has the athleticism to go with it. Now, something else that I saw pertaining to Giovanni Manu was his RAS. And I think when you look at, before we get there, like when you look at Giovanni play football, when you look at him, like he's going up against lesser competition here in college, right? He goes to or went to the University of British Columbia. So he's playing obviously against lesser competition, guys that'll never sniff the NFL. So he doesn't have to play as fast as he would, in maybe the SEC and definitely not the pros. And you can see it on film. Like if he gets his hands on somebody, of course he's going to dominate that matchup. But the agility really just isn't there for Giovanni. Right, his RAS out of a possible 10 score, he gets an 8.84. That ranks 160th out of 1,366 tackles from 1987 to 2024. Okay, his hand size 10.5, arm length 34.825. Okay, like we were talking about, this is a freak kind of athlete, right? Everything that he is athletically, his size against just over 6'7", 352 pounds. Again, has a 33.5-inch vertical. But the thing that really you look at this and look at him as a football player, the thing that's tough is his shuttle and his three cone. His shuttle is 4.81. His three cone is 8.29. His agility grade here is poor overall. So his ability to switch direction, his ability to get going one way or the other is not good. And when you're playing in the NFL, you have to be able to play fast. That's going to be the challenge for a guy like Giovanni Manu. And that's why he's likely going to be a day 3 pick, right? Somebody with issues, because if he never gets that figured out, then it's a wasted draft pick. Like if he just can't go side to side faster, it doesn't matter. So they're gonna have to figure that out. And in the NFL, they have, ways to coach that into somebody, I'm sure, and ways to be able to work through that. So it'll be interesting to see what the Colts decide to do. But this is a guy, if he is able to figure it out, right, wherever he goes, if he's able to get that figured out, he's able to move his feet better. This is a guy that could have a very good NFL career, and somebody that might be kind of like Anthony Costanzo, right? Anthony Costanzo came in and wasn't great, right? Had a lot of issues for the first 3, 4, 5 years of his career, but ended up figuring it out. By the end of his career, was one of the best tackles in football. So maybe Manu could come in and have that same kind of career arc, right? Come in, not going to be great right away. He's got to figure it out. And maybe even this first year he ends up sitting, right. If we keep Braden Smith and we draft Manu in say the 6th round or something, then maybe he just comes in, he sits, you know, gets better athletically, gets his body more shaped for what he's going to need to be in the NFL and for what the Colts are going to want from him, and continue to work on his footwork and continue to work on trying to be faster from side to side and in those short bursts. And maybe he comes in again next year, comes in his second year, not great right away, but starts to get the experience of playing. And then, maybe even, and this is, future projecting a lot, but then by the time he's ready for his, second NFL contract, he's good enough in the how much he's developed is good enough that okay, we can go ahead pay this guy and we can snag him up for 3 or 4 years real quick for cheap, but he's really going to be really good after this contract. That's kind of what I'm thinking, a career arc. But in terms of right now, talking about this draft, I think Manu would make sense. It is interesting that the Colts are talking to so many tackles and are really involved in the tackle market in this draft. Now, there are a lot of tackles in this draft, good tackles, right? This is a deep draft for tackles, just like it is for wide receivers and cornerbacks. So there's a chance that the Colts just sitting here doing their homework, but what better time to draft a tackle than in a draft that is deep in tackles, right? You have a right tackle that you might move on from soon, left tackle that continues to develop and get better. And Raymond looked really good last year, and maybe he can be even better, start to really turn into one of the best tackles in the NFL. So we'll see what the Colts decide to do. I still think moving on from Braden Smith is still very possible. If we draft a tackle, there's that chance gets higher and higher. We just drafted a tackle last year, so if we draft one this year, I think the writing is on the wall there to be able to get rid of Braden Smith at some point. And we'll see if that ends up happening. But you let me know what you think about this down in the comments section. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you get notified anytime any more of these videos come out. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.